Hello and good day to all of you. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a multi-part video. You clearly can't cover something like this in just one go, okay? I'm lounging today. Everybody, I've mentioned my insomnia. Finally got some sleep. Usually takes me a week or two to get a good night's sleep. So I'm feeling sluggish and a bit groggy, but I'm on my game. And, been fighting the dog nuts and trolls and all of the people from YouTube to Facebook. I'm in the middle of coming out to my Facebook family and friends. As I've never been shy about it, I am starting to be public, which is two different things. So a lot of shit to watch and deal with. But as I said before, I am used to being vilified and speaking out on things that are unpopular that people don't want to hear about, so this is not new to me. This multi-part video, this is going to take a while, especially with some of the information I was finding. Covering it as a whole will be simple in a video or two, but after that it's going to take, several videos. In fact, this is something I'll definitely revisit when I start doing live streams, so that we can all discuss it. So I went and was reading up about dogs, domestication, or where this worshipping cult of dog insanity had began. It is known where so many things are not known, and there's all kinds of people out there trying to do research and finding things out that, most of these dog breeds we know today have been developed in the last 50 to 500 and 150 years. And I found the, 200-year mark interesting because in the area of like 200-ish years is where things really got screwed up for humans in general. We all started with grocery stores instead of working with local farmers or growing our own food. No one composts anymore, so we're not feeding the planet. We are just kind of like being a bit of a parasite. Those are things that I have pursued as passions and actually spent many, many years traveling the country, teaching people about these things and teaching them, simple things about taking care of your home and feeding the earth. So I have been reading this article on Thought.co, and this is where I started out, and then I'm going to go on into the dog-hating Reddit posts, which is great. Can't beat Reddit. They were really one of the pioneers and people that were going public, but also Reddit is anonymous, so you're not being completely public. So, as I said, I'm in the middle of trying to talk to active dog owners that I've known on Facebook that have been following me for years. I have quite a few followers there. Welcome to everyone whom did come and friend me on Facebook. There were so many of you, and I'm so appreciative. I could really use the support. Just a reminder, I'm not trying to be rude or shitty to people on Facebook. I'm trying to spread awareness. So where they are going to be rude and they're going to act insane, it's very important that we keep our composure, okay? And we don't chase people off. They're the crazy ones. Let's just let them show that, and that's what they do. I had a gentleman whom was being very irrational and crazy, and he actually even deleted all of his comments at a certain point because one has to look back and say, wow, look at this. And before he even had a chance to erase them, several people had already seen them and were like, what the heck? And I'm like, I know. Strange thing is he wanted to agree with me, that he would disagree, that he would back up. So, very interesting. Off into this article. I'm going to skip and jump through some of this because, not to be an asshole, but the way it came to be, what we know today as dog culture, is not nearly as important as getting people to hear the facts. And people do not want to hear that. I literally, in one of my comments on Facebook, had said, dogs attack 4.5 million children a year. And two of these dog people laugh reacted it. Now, for the other people who seen this, that were on the fence on how they felt, were horrified. And I was like, why do you think I feel the need to speak out? Look at these people. Who laughs at that? That's disgusting. And actually had a couple people come forward that had been attacked and have always been silent because they feel like they can't even speak out about it. That's just tremendously sad. So, they call it an ancient partnership between dogs and humans. Realistically, you know, I'm like I said, I'm gonna duck and dodge through this because the wording is just terrible. And you know, partnership, sure, call it what you want. You know, this was just us using them and them using us. That's how this kind of stuff works. Even with training horses and doing what I've done, those horses don't want to do anything we're teaching them. They don't want to live and do any of that crap. We convince them to, with food and different breaking techniques and also gentling, okay, which I've always been into gentling. I know I'm scary, okay, or whatever, or I come off as very brash. I've always been very compassionate and sincere toward the critters that I have trained and worked with over the years. I've never been breaking horses. We did gentling. There are a lot of techniques to do this, and the ones that I have used take a very long time. You get your ass kicked over and over again by this critter, and eventually you kind of wear them down, so you don't take away their spirit, or you do though. You know, that's part of what I've realized over the past couple years. And I think that me coming from those backgrounds of training dogs and horses and everything just adds merit to my argument. I'm not someone whom has just been like, oh, you know, oh, I hate these things and have no knowledge on it. I've been working with them and around them throughout my life. But I've never been a big dog person, especially being a functional human. I just never really seen their purpose. And even if you want to talk about like cattle dogs, it is no different than what we do on the back of a horse, okay? People do it on quads, you can do it by foot. It's just, you know, so you don't have to have these things. So, you know, they mention these partnership between dogs, and they've used DNA, mitochondrial DNA, and have traced and split the species back over 100,000 years, okay? And they say that wolves and dogs is split into two different species between 40 and 20,000 years ago, okay? So when a lot of people want to say like, oh, wolves, and I was getting that argument a lot last night, wolves aren't dogs, guys. Wolves aren't dogs. I have one guy telling me he brought a wolf into his house and lives with him and stuff. Well, then you're domesticating a wolf, right? But he just was not hearing that. It's the words they use in this article. It makes me skip and dance through it, with the genetic data showing the date and history of dogs as intricate. And, you know, all of these, like, loving words, and I'm not feeling the loving words end, okay? Everyone wants to argue about the origin of the domestic dog. They can't say that it's not Europe. There are some evidence that shows that Asia, you know, had something to do with this. They say that DNA, you know, earlier DNA studies have shown that modern dogs were descended from one domestication event, and the existence of evidence of two domestication events from two far-flung locations, which makes a lot more sense. Like, this probably wasn't just happening in one area. Like, so we're going past where people were like, hey, these dogs are, you know, kind of helpful, and we're using them to herd and to hunt and this and that. And when those needs died down, then you have, like, your more mentally unstable people, your original, your OG dog nutters, you know, going, me domesticate dog and breed to make flat face, you know. That was my best caveman attempt. That was terrible. They found evidence to support migration events across Central Asia, and they're unable to rule out Europe as the original area of domestication of the dog, okay? Earliest confirmed domestic dogs anywhere from burial sites in Germany, okay? And it was dated back 14,000 years ago, and the earliest confirmed domesticated dog in China, okay, was 7,000 to 5,800 BCE, all right? Now, evidence on coexistence of dogs and humans, but not necessarily domestication, comes from Upper Paleolithic sites in Europe. Okay, they hold all of this evidence, and they even show signs of dog burials in areas like Sweden, okay, proving the value of these things to people. So, that obviously there were people starting to, and if you look back in history, there were different animals that have been revered as like gods. The cow, there's the whale in some societies, cats, dogs. And hey, I'm not saying anything altogether negative about old humans going, and revering the sun or cats or whatever. I think like the boundaries really been crossed when we brought them into our homes and into our neighborhoods. This isn't something that they are worshiping from afar. Like, these people were all like, wow, tigers, are incredible and they're incredible hunters. What a magnificent creature. I think the change really took place when, like, the Tiger King, not him specifically, but you get my point, decided that, hey, I'm going to own all of these things and train them and put them in cages. And as many of us have talked about before, domestication and the holding and the capture and it's really not far off from imprisonment of these critters is not love. That's not admiration. That's control. That's playing God. And we humans tend to be pretty dang good at that. So they have a wolf burial of an adult male. And the diet, as they went through and did an autopsy, was made up of deer and not grain. And so there was no direct evidence that it was part of the community, but it was buried in a formal cemetery. So once again, I think that more leans toward like using these things as a ritualistic sense, or that those humans were kind of admiring wolves from far away for their ability to hunt, their pack mentality, and the way they protect their young. Too bad we couldn't have all picked up on that some more. And, then decided to add them to things like worship and culture that involves burial. Okay, so as I said earlier, they can really show that these dog breeds, that the oldest like modern dog breeds that are around today, are no more older than 500 years old. As I said, I find that interesting because they 150 to 500 years old. And a lot of things changed with humans and our environment and the way that we coincide with the planet, the way we deal with spirituality in those past 200 plus years. So they go on into their theories of modern breed origination. Now, I could read about this and they just fancy talk around what I'm going to say in my own layman's terms. We took these critters and bred them down. We made pugs, and these animals are unhealthy too. I'm pretty sure most of you know that. In fact, a lot of these breeds can't even mate and reproduce on their own. They have to be artificially inseminated, and then they have to have C-sections and all of these different things. That is not natural. And so when these people keep trying to that's their big argument, I noticed even last night, is to try to compare their dog to wolf and say, oh, humans have had this bond with dogs. And no, actually, we have needs, okay? And those needs used to be hunting and protection and herding. And now the human needs have transferred over into antisocial behaviors and turning these things into your children and treating them better than your children, as we had just covered in the video. And I'm definitely going to have to do another one about that because I just have more and more stories from people. It's so sad that it's so common, okay? So we're going to hop up out of this basically dog-loving rhetoric and propaganda, but I wanted to go through some of the facts and give a rough idea because I know people are always going like, when did this start? When did this start? And I feel that, it started from its purest origin of the fact that we were like, hey, look at these things. They were attracted to us, Cats domesticated themselves, You know, they're like, hey, humans bring in rodents. That means food, you know, and they hang around. You know, it's not that... Two different cultures. Not that, you know, there aren't people that take their love for cats to a whole different area that's pretty wild. As I keep pointing out to people, cats aren't killing children. So my focus, you know, is dogs. Although I am against domestication of animals as a whole. And once you know what it takes to force these critters to be around us in the first place, there's someone out there training, abusing, starving, and manipulating every creature that we have come to know and love. Dolphins, elephants, cattle, dogs, cats, horses, donkeys, mules, you name it, and there is some manner of pain, starvation, and influence to get them to do this stuff. Horses don't just walk up to people and go, oh, I want to live with this guy. This is great. I can't wait to live off of grain for the rest of my life and hay and never see a blade of grass again. Nothing has done that. We are the strange mammal that are constantly picking things out that we like, forcing them to stay with us. That's why we need all these cages, corrals, and kennels. And then going, hey, where's my thing? Hey, you're pretty cool, but hey, if I breed you with this, I can make something that I like even more. And then at the end of the day, they end up with some whole other ass thing. And, you know, they'll use the pug as an example and are like, this is what I like. I wonder how much it likes it, because they have brachiocephalic faces, okay? And all that smashed in, and they often die. They can't even catch their breath. Dobermans' brains outgrow their skulls because of what we did to them. I could go on all day, being someone that used to be way into this, on all of the defects that we cause these things. It's unreal. So, let's go to a Reddit post, and I'll make this kind of the end of my video. And I know I've kind of started doing like 2 videos a day. I might do a second video today. I have a couple topics I'm bouncing around, but it's usually the ones that catch my attention the most that get me to hop up and make another video. Today I might just do one. I'm still catching up on sleep and shit like that. Dogs are better than people, and dog worship culture is stupid. The rampant worshipping of their very existence is getting out of hand. Dogs love you no matter what, and they are so much better than people. Real quick, I dealt with that comment 6 times last night. It's pathetic, and anyone who says this has a weird narcissistic God complex because their little retarded animal shows excitement around them. Dogs are programmed to love humans, and that's about it. It's not some fucking miracle that your dog loves you. Dogs love everyone. That's like saying a calculator is better at math than a person. Of course it is. It's programmed to. Dogs love rapists, serial killers, pedophiles, and even dog killers. Quick note. Let me pull this up and not lose it. Quick note. It's a well-known thing. You can beat the shit out of a dog, harm it, lock it in the trunk of your car, and come back and it will still be happy to see you. It is so brainless, it doesn't understand that you are neglecting it. But this goes right down into domestication, as I had said, is wrong. There is no domestication that didn't involve some type of torture and abuse. So they're used to it. Okay? Now, coming from someone who's dealt with it, if you have to strike or get negative or physical with a donkey, a horse, or a cat, they don't look at you the same anymore. So there's something still in them, because they're not fully mutated, that gets that you're there to harm, and that and you can see it in the horse's eyes, that they know that they have to start getting along. Now, I love horses, still love training horses. Like I said, I gentle them. So my horses don't have that look on their face, because I'm not breaking them. But the horses that are gentled are more often to throw you, kick you, and kind of act a certain way. You do get some horses here and there that are genuinely just happy to be around a human. But even the last horse I had that was happy to be around me, and she constantly was trying to come into my house to be around me, would also break off my property and take off. so they still maintain. Excuse me. You don't have to put any effort into yourself as a person for a dog to like you. And I personally feel that that's the whole reason these brainless things appeal so much to people. You have to work with a human, right? You have to work with your children. You have to work with your community, but you don't with a dog. You can be the biggest piece of shit on the planet and they're still gonna look at you like, because you're feeding them, flat out, okay? They are stupid animals that have no thought process. Of course, they don't judge you. They literally can't. They can't even talk. They just like having someone around and being fed. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking dick bag to everyone all day, every day. None of that matters since your dog loves you. People use this as an excuse all the time. Well, dogs never... I've actually heard people say shit like, Hitler was terrible. Did you know he loved dogs? How nice. Can they even hear what they're saying? Fun fact, Hitler was afraid of cats. That came up in some information I was going over yesterday. Do with that what you like. Human relationships are incredibly complex and more rewarding than a dog's love because people choose to love you. It can make you stronger and better as a person and talk you through things. Dogs don't have a choice. They are your prisoner and they run away all the fucking time. You call that unwavering loyalty? If you cannot stand to be criticized for being a shitty person, then you have serious issues. And that's not the fault of humans. So putting your little slave pet above humans and probably underdeveloped, you're probably underdeveloped emotionally. It's like they just fall back on dogs and shit talk people for not accepting them. And that's quite common. I've been experiencing that since last night. I literally just said facts. I'm not aggressive or abrasive with people. I just said anything that kills that many children is not worth the risk. And I don't see the benefits outweighing the risks in this situation. And they just jumped all over me. Okay, so that's how they work. Refusing to better yourself just because you own a dog is sad. And frankly, it's creepy that they value something that looks up to them and obeys them no matter what over an equal human. And I agree. It is like that having to work with people and talk and communicate and get to know yourself is so frightening. They'd rather live in this world where it's just them and the dog. It makes me think that they are full of themselves and expect their friends and family to never talk back to them, or they will marry some AI programmable sex bot. It's so creepy. And guys, aren't we kind of getting there? I mean, that is kind of happening. This person is definitely... This is... The Redditor is called It's Tiresome. And, this was from 4 years ago. So, and I'll go through just a few comments before I wrap this up. Someone says, crows are at least just as smart as dogs and no one loves them as much. Someone else says, I lived in Yellowstone last year. All I could say is crows are probably the smartest animals out there. They work in groups. They work with other species like wolves. They're incredible. And I don't know why any of them let us live except for all the sweet trash we provide for them. Difference between dogs and humans is that you have to earn a human's respect while dogs love you as long as they're being fed. And a dog nut jumps in. Well, you have to earn it from dogs too. And then they deleted their name because they don't want anyone being able to find them. The idea that dogs are never at fault is enraging. I admit that most bad behavior by dogs is due to poor training, but they're also just shitty, terrible dogs that do terrible things regardless of training. This was something else I was arguing last night, and with that, we'll just go ahead and wrap her up on this segment of this video, was that that's the problem. When you have, and I discussed this the other day, here's my notebook right in front of me right now. What was it? 39%? Yeah, that are attacking their own family members, and they previously have seemed like they're totally healthy and everything's normal, and this family dog snaps and attacks adults, kills children. So I'm not on that idea, the narrative that some dogs are good and some dogs are bad. Some of these dogs are good up until they snap and kill someone, and the risk outweighs the benefits. Guys, keep spreading awareness. Please share this channel with anyone that you know will benefit. Please find me on Facebook. I can use all the friends I can get. Ashley Blackburn. I've already been open about my name, and my profile picture is my face on a dildo in a river. I'm always putting stupid profile pictures, so if you see something that you're like, who the hell ever thought of that? It's probably me. Please continue with your emails. I'm really enjoying it. I'm compiling a hell of a list of questions to put onto a video. Please protect yourselves. Go out and get some steel toe boots. You know, this is a good way to protect yourself, and they can't stop you. They're not illegal in any country or anything like that. I was informed that people are having trouble finding the pulmonary spike. Apparently the company that made ours is no longer making them, and they actually just call them the Spike in some websites. And actually a friend of mine made a great suggestion. If you're looking for something that's not going to cut you like a knife and you want a pulmonary spike, get yourself a good strong Phillips head or flathead screwdriver and grind it down. Okay, even if you don't have a grinder, do it on the sidewalk or on a stone. From the bottom of my dog-hating heart, I appreciate every one of you. I'm going to compile some more comments and information. I'm basically going to do it the same way I just did it. I will start it up with some basic dog nut statistics, propaganda, and facts, and then back it up with some other intelligent people that have actually thought about these things. Thank you for the views. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all your compliments, your comments, and even all the people that disagree with me or had this and that to say. Thank you for being cool and not being rude about it. This is supposed to be a dialogue. We're supposed to be able to talk about this. We don't need to be attacking each other. That's not getting anybody anywhere. I am above that type of behavior. If you want to try to have a conversation, that's fine. If you're going to be a negative little bitch, I am just going to block you. It's okay with me. It doesn't bother me. So, everyone have a fantastic day. Protect yourselves and your children, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.